Doctor back with another Diag video. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about starters because I get a lot of inquiries about how to test starters, how you know if the starter is bad, and plus I get a lot of customers in here thinking that they need a starter and it could be something simple as a battery or a fuse or a relay. So it's a lot of things that goes into the starting of the vehicle. So it's not as simple as some of you guys think. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Jumping right into it, the tools I'm going to be using is a relay bypass. I call it, it's called a fuel pump relay. Yeah, relay. I said bypass and I didn't even know what it was called. This is my first time actually reading this, to be honest with you. But it's a relay bypass master kit. We're using that, my volt ohm meter. So the first thing we want to check and when diagnosing the starter is to first verify that the customer complaint or your complaint. So what I'm gonna do is come in here and try to crank it up. Nothing. It gets nothing. So, okay. I know the starter is not working. Now, a couple of things a starter would do to indicate it's not working. It'll make multiple clicks, like tick, 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 tick. I can tell you offhand, that's the battery. Most of the time when it's multiple clicks like that, your battery is low. Another thing it'll do is do completely nothing when you turn the key. That's what this one is doing. And by the way, this is a 06 Cadillac SRX with the GM 3.6 engine in it. The other thing it'll do is do a one single click. It'll be like click, click. From my experience, that's the starter. So jumping right into the diagnostic here, I'm gonna turn my volt ohm meter to volts. Right now it's reading millivolts, so don't pay attention to that. You want to make sure you got a good battery. So it is, slipped off. Come on. Something wrong with my volt ohm meter? Oh, 12.4. So that's about an 80% charged battery. Now the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go get another piece of equipment. I should have had it with me prior to the video, but I don't think it's far. I'm back. I had to go grab my battery load tester. What it does is it puts a load on the battery. Now, something funny, when I came back, I actually had to go grab my other volt ohm meter because my other snap-on one went dead. Talking about batteries and my snap-on thing went dead. How funny. But how you work this is you hook it up, black on black, of course, red on red, without electrocuting yourself. There we go. And okay, get a good reading. Come on. Now, this thing is kind of busted because on a normal basis, you can just hook this up and flip this switch and it'll kind of tell you if the battery is okay or weak or whatever the case may be. But since it's busted, I'm gonna have to look at this readout where I put a load on it. So I'm gonna put a load on it and it shouldn't drop below 9.6. 9.6, below 9.6 is dead. It dropped down to what, 11.4. That's good. That's a good battery. That'll start a car. Now when you're doing this, you don't want to just hold it all day because this does get hot. So now that I know I have a good battery, let's look into some other things. Let me put these things away. Just set them right here. All right. Yeah. All right. So now the next thing we're gonna check is the fuse. Just making sure that the starter fuse is good and the relay is good. So we're dealing with the SRX. This is for the CTS and this is for the SRX. I guess they did this so they don't have to make several covers, two different types of covers. They can just one cover. So on this, here's your starter relay, which is right here. And some vehicles have a starter fuse, which is, let me find it. Bear with me, good people. if it has if I remember correctly, this one does have a starter fuse. Here it is. Starter fuse, which is right here. Now, you can look through the little glass to see these little prongs will be broken, which this one is not. And you can test this by simply doing a continuity test. So if it's not broken, these will beep. If it is broken, they will not beep. So, see how it beeps? That means these two things are making contact. So, next, we're gonna check the relay. Now, be careful when you're doing this kind of test, especially with this type of tool. You want to make sure that the ignition is off, because you can start the vehicle outside the car, which I'm going to show you. And be careful the car is not in drive or reverse, because if the car do crank up, it will start lunging forward. So practice good safety, good people. I'm going to take my own advice. I'm going to apply the handbrake. Make sure your handbrake works. If your handbrake don't work, get something to put behind the wheels. Like a wheel chock or something like that. But my handbrake works pretty good. I'm gonna make sure my ignition is off, which it is off. And this tool is gonna bypass the starter relay. Make sure it's on the off position. Let's see what happens. Look at that. Turn it on, it cranks up. So that tells me that it is something wrong with this relay.
And not the starter?
Yeah, not the starter, because the starter clearly crunk up. Starter clearly turns over the engine.
I'm gonna get a shot of this box, if you don't mind, just so people can see.
And I'm gonna put it in, I'm gonna find one in the description so you guys can buy yourself. This is very handy for testing fuel pumps, fans, anything you can think of with the relay power. It just completely bypasses it. Because what I used to do in the good old days before this tool, I used to open these up and push the contacts in myself. Doing that, you can damage relays that way. If you have to if you have to put it back in there, you can destroy them. So I got a new relay here. So we'll put that in. Now, what I was gonna say is, I wanted to discuss some terms with you guys, just so when you're talking to people or mechanics, they can better understand what's going on. So what the vehicle was just doing, the term that it was just doing is turning over or cranking. That means the engine is actually rotating. Those are the couple of terms. Now, once it's running, that means the running term is it fired up, or it crunk up, or help me out, good people. If you know some more terms that I'm forgetting, write down in the comments, share some with me. I don't know everything.
So was that starting? Because a lot of customers say, oh, my car wouldn't start.
Okay, so starting, when I hear starting, that means to me that the car started up.
Okay.
So that's another term. It started.
But they say, oh, and you ask them, is it turning over? And they say no, but that was turning over.
This was turning over.
Gotcha.
So you got to get your terms right, because it can confuse some mechanics, or you have to educate your customers saying, hey, this is what this actually means, so you can, know it makes sure you're on the same page. So I just put in the relay. I'm going to see if it starts up now. Voila. So now, I wanted to show you that you can actually start the car from the outside. So same thing. Now that the car is on, put in this, and you just have to turn it off when it gets ready to crank up or you're ready to start. As soon as it fired up, hit the off button.
So that came out of that kit?
Yes.
Oh, that's a nice kit.
I'm gonna put this back so I won't lose it. I'm gonna throw this bad relay in the trash. And this car is fixed. Now, I'm gonna take you over to a little model I made, just so we can talk a little bit more how the starting system actually work and how it's wired up. Now, if this didn't work, this is why I'm gonna take you over there, because if this didn't work, it's a couple of more tests you can do. Just bypass the whole wiring system in general, and I'm going to take you over to my little setup. It's kind of bootleg, so don't laugh at me, people. I'm supposed to have it on an engine stand, and you'll see. You can be like, oh wow. But I'm gonna take you over there and discuss a little bit more how you can bypass the starter and test it yourself at home. This is my bootleg setup. So let me explain what's going on here. Okay, so here's a starter. And when I said basically you can test it on the ground, this applies to any starter, any automotive starter. So you have the power wire. I'm supposed to have this set up a lot neater than this. This is not recommended by any means. You're supposed to use an island and attach it to this. This is very janky. So be better than me. So
basically, don't try this at home.
Yes. So this is your power wire. This wire receives power all the time. So if you probe it, you should see 12 volts here. This is the motor power wire right here. So this is not a ground, this is a power wire. And this is the relay. It's like a relay. And I'm gonna show you how this works. So if you clip your wire on, clip a wire on right here, and you give this 12 volts, it should operate this starter. Now, I forgot to mention ground. Any metal surface on the engine is ground, because the starter itself is the ground. So black on anything metal, or if the starter is completely outside the vehicle, you can attach it here and it'll work. So, now I want to show you how the starter actually works. That's why I put it on the vehicle. So this is your
engine.
This is your flex plate, and this is an engine. Yes. So on automatics, it's called flex plates, and on manual transmissions, it's called flywheels. So this is the starter. It has little teeth. Let me actually go get another one before I show this one. I should have one right here. Oh, I got starters everywhere. So this is another starter. This one's off a truck. But when you hit that solenoid, it injects this portion out, and that portion hits the teeth, which I'm about to show you right now. So just focus on that. See how it sucks back in when I let off of it, but it pulls out. Catches the teeth and spin the engine over. So that was my quick example. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. I think I pretty much covered it all.
Well, I got a question.
Okay, what's up?
What's the common? So how do starters fail?
Okay, yeah. So the common failure of starters, and I'm glad I got it like this, so I can physically show you why starters fail. Excessive cranking of the starters. Like if your engine is not cranking up and you're just sitting there just on the starter for minutes at a time, your starter will get real hot and start smoking. You pretty much burnt up your motor at that point. And
starter motor?
Yeah, the starter motor. You overheat it and burn it up. So it can fail that way. Also, if you have any leaks, like from a valve cover, this is the valve cover. It'll drip oil right down on the starter or any electrical component, alternator, starter. If this gets saturated in oil and you don't address the issue, it will short out the internals of the starter, causing it not to work. Couple of more failure points of starters are rarely they'll fall apart. The teeth will strip out. stripping out your flex plate teeth. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because in order to get to this, you have to take off your transmission. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I think that about covers it. If you think I forgot anything, please write down in the comments. Let me know if any other starter failures you guys can think of, if I left any out. But those are the most common in my opinion. So I think that's covers about everything.
I don't have any.
I get tongue tied sometimes. But anywho, good people, make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I'm trying to do more videos to help you guys out. So, show your love. Write down in the comments if you have any questions pertaining to this video, or any concerns, or if I did something wrong. I'm always up for learning new things. Just be nice. All right, good people. Alice the Car Doctor out. See you on the next video.